At the start of the film, we see an innocent girl named Elizabeth. She is 20 years old and lives with her mom, dad, and younger brother. Their house is located right next to a forest. Every day when she goes to college, she passes through the forest. One day after college, Elizabeth was returning home with her friend and another girl. At that moment, her friend's brother arrived with a car. So, her friend and the girl got into the car and left. Elizabeth then decided to walk home alone through the main road. On both sides of the road, there was a dense and deserted forest. She had no idea that this path would become the most terrifying turn of her life. As she walked ahead, a man dressed in a police uniform appeared. He called her over. His name was Vincent. Speaking in a very calm tone, he said, "I am a police officer. Near your house, illegal crops are being grown. So I need to take you in for questioning." Saying this, he put handcuffs on Elizabeth's hands and tied a belt around her neck. Then he told her, "I have also arrested your younger brother, and now I am taking you to him." Elizabeth panicked, but since Vincent introduced himself as a police officer, she didn't resist. He then started taking Elizabeth deeper into the forest. They crossed a small stream and walked further inside. Elizabeth didn't want to go with him, but out of fear, she had no choice but to obey. Then Vincent made her sit down in one spot and said, "Let me tell you the truth. I am not a police officer. I have kidnapped you because I want to keep you with me. I have feelings for you. I like you." Elizabeth couldn't understand what exactly was happening. Tears rolled down her eyes out of fear. Vincent asked her if she had a mobile phone. When she said no, he started asking her strange questions, like whether she had been in a relationship or if she had a boyfriend. Hearing this, Elizabeth realized that this man was completely insane and mentally unstable. Vincent led Elizabeth deep into the forest, where he had built a secret underground bunker. He forced her inside and locked the door behind them. From above, no one could see it because Vincent had covered the bunker with dry leaves. It had a small hidden door, and inside it looked like a small, dark room with a bed. Vincent chained Elizabeth and warned her that if she tried to escape, the belt around her neck had a bomb attached, which would go off. He also threatened that if she made any noise, he would kill her. Terrified, Elizabeth broke down crying, realizing she was completely trapped. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's mother discovered that her daughter had not returned home. Dropping everything, she rushed back and began searching the area. She called Elizabeth's friends, but no one knew anything. This only made her more anxious. With the help of one of her daughter's friends and her younger son, she went into the forest, calling out Elizabeth's name loudly. But of course, it was of no use. By nightfall, when Elizabeth's parents still couldn't find her, they called the police to report her missing. The officer began questioning neighbors and people nearby, trying to gather clues, but no progress was made. The police didn't take the case seriously, believing Elizabeth was probably at a friend's place or with a boyfriend and would soon return. But even the next day, when Elizabeth didn't come home, the police went to her college and questioned her close friends. They said they had last seen her at the main road before heading home themselves. After that, the police and Elizabeth's family searched the forest multiple times, but no sign of her was found. Meanwhile, Elizabeth had been locked inside the bunker for 2 days. She was terrified, constantly crying and thinking about her family, desperately wanting to escape. But Vincent told her it was impossible. He further threatened that even if she managed to escape, he would go to her home and harm her younger brother. This frightened Elizabeth even more. Then, trying to calm her, Vincent said everything would be fine and handed her a bowl of noodles to eat. Elizabeth refused to eat, which made Vincent furious. He threatened her, saying, "If you don't listen to me, I'll have to hurt you. And that's something I don't want to do." Vincent's mind was unstable, and all he wanted was to control Elizabeth and keep her with him forever inside the bunker. He had already prepared it for this purpose, stocked with all the essentials like a TV, toilet, gas stove, and plenty of food. Elizabeth now understood that if she wanted to survive, she had no choice but to obey him. On the third day, while she was eating noodles, she suddenly heard voices outside. It was actually her parents, who had come searching for her with friends near the bunker. Hearing this, Vincent quickly covered her mouth with his hand and pointed a gun at her, whispering, "If you make even the slightest noise, I'll blow your head off." Luckily, because the bunker was well hidden, no one noticed the entrance. That evening, they watched the news on TV. The police were still searching for Elizabeth, and her parents looked heartbroken. Seeing this made Elizabeth very sad. The police were doing everything possible, searching day and night, even scanning the forest with helicopters. When Vincent heard the helicopter, he quickly covered himself and Elizabeth with foil sheets to hide from heat detectors. On the fourth day, Vincent shared a piece of his past. He said he was once married and loved his wife deeply, but one day she falsely accused him of trying to hurt her, and ever since, the police had been after him. That's why he built this bunker, to hide and also to punish his wife by trapping her here. But before he could, she left the country. Then he told Elizabeth, "When I saw you, I fell in love instantly. That's why I brought you here, to live with me forever." In reality, the gun Vincent carried was fake. It couldn't kill, but it could injure someone. He used it only to scare her. Elizabeth knew that if she wanted to survive, she had to understand Vincent's twisted mind. She started speaking to him gently, trying to win his trust. By the fifth day, when Vincent was asleep beside her, Elizabeth quietly tried to get out of bed. She saw his gun lying on the table and reached for it. But because a chain was tied around her neck, she couldn't stretch far enough. When Vincent suddenly woke up and saw her, he angrily asked what she was doing. Elizabeth quickly lied, saying she just needed to use the bathroom. To gain his trust, Elizabeth placed her hand on his and told him she was starting to love him. To save her own life, she even let him get closer to her. By the sixth day in the bunker, she was pretending to accept life with him. Slowly, Vincent began to believe her and even removed the chain from her neck. He started trusting her so much that he even taught her how to use his fake gun. One night, Vincent took Elizabeth outside with him. Her hands were tied tightly, and he led her to an old car filled with food supplies. When Elizabeth asked who brought the supplies there, Vincent didn't answer. Suddenly, a helicopter flew overhead. Panicked, Vincent rushed to take her back. On the way, Elizabeth deliberately slipped off one of her shoes and left it behind, hoping the police might find it as a clue. Back inside the bunker, she discovered that Vincent had a mobile phone. The next morning, while he was asleep, she secretly took it and typed a message to her mother. But there was no network underground. She tried opening the bunker door slightly to catch a signal, but it didn't work. Disheartened,
इसलिए
she
वो
deleted the
मैसेज
message
डिलीट
and
करके
put the
फोन
phone back.
वापस रख देती। तब
Her eyes then fell on Vincent's gun. She picked it up and placed it against his head. She knew it wasn't a real firearm, but she thought at least it could wound him. She pulled the trigger, but the gun jammed. Furious and frustrated, she put it back in its place. Thinking of her parents, she broke down in tears, wondering if she would ever escape alive. By now, Elizabeth had been trapped for 7 days, and the police still hadn't found a single clue. Her friends, and even the officers, began to believe she might not be alive anymore. On the 8th day, Vincent inspected his gun and noticed it was jammed. Suspicious, he asked Elizabeth if she had touched it. Calmly, she denied it, saying, "Why would I need your gun?" To distract him, she gently took his hand and placed it on her cheek, pretending to show affection. Because of Elizabeth's careful words, Vincent began to trust her again. Meanwhile, The police were about to give up searching for her since no trace of her had been found. But the message Elizabeth had once typed to her mother, then deleted because there was no signal, somehow managed to reach her mother's phone. In that message, Elizabeth wrote that a man had locked her inside an underground bunker in the middle of the forest and that he was mentally unstable. Reading this, her parents were shocked, but also filled with hope that their daughter might still be alive. They immediately showed the message to the police. At first, the officers didn't take it seriously, thinking it could be a prank, but Elizabeth's mother explained that her daughter signed the message with her nickname, Lisa, a name only family knew. That convinced the police it was genuine. They traced the phone number and discovered that it had been purchased 3 weeks earlier under a woman's name. When they questioned her, she admitted she used to be Vinson's girlfriend, but had broken up with him years ago. She said Vincent still messaged her sometimes, asking her to leave food supplies in a car parked near the forest, and she had no idea what he did with them. She then showed the police the car's location. Investigating further, police uncovered an old bunker beneath her house where Vincent once hid from them. They also confirmed that Vincent already had many past criminal charges related to kidnapping and other crimes, but he had always managed to escape capture. Now, the police were sure Vincent was behind Elizabeth's disappearance. The message was leaked to the media. Reporters revealed that Elizabeth had been kidnapped by Vincent and hidden inside a bunker. When Vincent saw this news on TV, he panicked. He shouted at Elizabeth, accusing her of sending the message to her mother. "I thought you loved me. Why would you betray me?" he screamed. Elizabeth, staying calm, swore that she hadn't sent any message and told him to check the phone himself. Since she had already deleted it, he found nothing, which confused him even more. Elizabeth then cleverly manipulated him. She said, "I do love you, but if the police catch us together, they'll put you in jail. You should run away now. When everything calms down, come back and I'll be here waiting for you. Then we'll live together in another city." Vincent, desperate and scared, believed her words and fled the bunker. As soon as he left, Elizabeth opened the bunker door and stepped outside. She was afraid to go further, thinking there might really be bombs planted nearby. At that moment, she heard voices calling her name. It was the police searching in the forest. Elizabeth cried out, and the officers followed her voice to the bunker. That's when it was revealed that the bombs Vincent had mentioned were fake, placed only to frighten her. The police immediately rescued Elizabeth and took her safely back home. Reunited with her parents, she broke down in tears, hugging them tightly. After 10 long days of living in terror, she was finally free. A few days later, Vincent was captured by the police. In court, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for his crimes. Elizabeth slowly began to recover from the trauma. Her courage and intelligence in facing such a dangerous man became an inspiration for everyone. She proved how, even in the most difficult situations, calmness and bravery can help one survive. And with that, the story of the film came to an end.